Well, before talking about 78 with this great production of Carmen, perhaps the biggest production I have been involved in Carmen as the music, as the drama, with the team of Zeffirelli and Cliver, of course. I mean, it's something very, very special. But perhaps I should just go into the early time when I started knowing Carmen first, by the fact that in my first years when I was doing supporting parts, it was some of my last supporting parts before starting to sing a leading role. It was when I was what was this? Was 1960. I was 19 years old, and I was singing Remendado to Di Stefano, with Di Stefano. Was doing the Don José in Mexico and in Monterrey, Mexico. And, for me to be close to a tenor that I admire very, very much because of his dramatic involvement and really beautiful voice, I started doing that part, and then very soon in my life came my first performances of Don José. My wife Marta and me, we got married in 1962, and the first offer we have, I won a scholarship, which I actually never got. They give me it was critics in Mexico that they give me an award because I was starting as a young promise, and they were going to give me a scholarship to go to New York or to Milan. But we have a friend in Israel, Jose Khan, which was a very good pianist, and he was Mexican, but he was Jewish, Mexican, and he went to Israel, and he came back from Israel and said, I am coming from Israel, and I talked to the director of the opera, and they need a soprano and a tenor to go to Israel. So we were just married and said, well, let's go. And we went for 6 months contract, and we stayed 2.5 years. These 2.5 years, they were so representative for us because we did a tremendous amount of performances. I sang 280 performances, and Marta close to 200. So Israel, the opera there, it was a place that you will come either destroy or really made. And fortunately, it was the second. I really learned a lot. We really learned a lot. And Marta decided not to continue because she was expecting our first child. And when we left Israel, and she decided that it was too much the weight of being a mother, a wife, and already thinking that my career was going to probably be important. So she decided, being a great artist and great singer, to give up the career. But this is to make story. We were there in December '62. We make our debut in Israel. I did it in December as Rodolfo, and she did it in January on my birthday, in '63. So my 22 birthday, we sang Bohème together in Israel. It was her debut. And a few months later, I cannot remember now if it was 63 or was 64. Probably was 63. I have it in my books in any way written. Marta, 63. Yes, Marta was singing Micaela, and a tenor came from Italy to sing Don José. But then in the running of the first performance, he got sick, and they asked me. It was about 2 more days to have the next Carmen, and of course, singing the Remendado, I have heard enough the part of Don José. Then I just have to concentrate in 2 days, and I was ready to do my first Don José. So that was my first Don José. So by the time I arrived to do Don José in this production in 78, I have been singing Don José for already 15 years. Even if I was only in 78, I was only 37 years, but I have been singing a lot of Don Josés. So this production, it was really exceptional. To have Carlos Kleiber, the conductor, the dream conductor for everybody, I mean, this it's just amazing what he was able to create out of every page, out of every beat, the energy, what he obtained for the orchestra, what he obtained for the singers, and this Carmen with Zeffirelli together, I think has been a production that has been going at the Staatsoper in Vienna, still going on. I believe they are going to do a new one, probably next year or in 2 years. But there are things that are difficult to beat, and that Carmen really is something, unforgettable. It was a great cast. We have Elena Bratsova at her best, one real natural voice of a mezzo, really very involved in the acting, gorgeous sound. We have, of course, the Vienna Philharmonic, because you know that the orchestra in Vienna, there are members of the Vienna Philharmonic, so any day they are playing some of them. You don't have the Vienna Philharmonic all together because they might be doing some concerts, they might be in tour, but you have the big amount. And of course, being Kleiber there, they were ready, and they were willing to stay there to play under his baton. And Matsurov, who was a Russian baritone doing the Scamillo, and the magnificent chorus, the whole production of Zeffirelli just was amazing. The costumes, the colors, the choreography. We have a Spanish dancer coming, and the chanson bohème, I remember. I mean, you have never seen a reaction. I mean, sometimes you see a reaction like this because of a soprano aria, a tenor aria, a duet, a fantastic duet. But to have, after the chanson bohème, with that orchestra playing, the dancing happening on the stage in Lila Spasti in the second act, I mean, this is unbelievable. And I think you can see it today. You can see it in the tape. You can see the reaction of the public. This is the fantastic thing of all these things, and there are live. All these recordings, and they are live. And if you keep the atmosphere of the applause and so on, you can feel how the Staatsopera really went totally crazy. So this production, of course, I did it in many occasions later on. And I feel the character of Don José is very close to my roots, because my mother was for the Basque. She was born in the Basque country, in a fisherman place called Getaria. Getaria is 99 kilometers from San Sebastian. And I always say that Getaria is famous because, I don't know, you remember Magallanes was the one that went around the world, in a ship those days, and but he didn't finish the trip. In the trip he died, and Sebastián Elcano finished the trip. And Sebastián Elcano was born in Getaria, and also was Balenciaga, the famous couturier. And actually Balenciaga loves very much my mother. He used to love my mother, and Luis Mariano, also a very famous singer. Then he was like the like the prince, like a king in Paris. At the Châtelet, he used to do all the operettes, the French operettes. He was a very famous movie star. And they said, in the Basque country, they said, if you have one Basque, you have one, the basket, the Basque beret, If you have two Basques, you have a game of a ball, because, and if you have three Basques, you have a choir, an orpheon, because everybody sings. So my mother and Luis Mariano, they were in a Basque chorale going all around Europe. So when they were young, so, and I always say it, so then the three famous people from Guetaria were Elcano, Valenciaga, and my mother, of course, being my mother, which she was a wonderful singer. But I always say that's, of course, I'm very proud. Going back to that, the Basque people, they are kind of very reserved in a way. And in the novel of Mérimée, which is, of course, the story of Don José before going, to be executed because of the killing of Carmen. So he tells us in Mérimée that if in Navarra, in the Basque part of Navarra, if he will see a girl like Carmen in the street, he will make the crossing, because he will think that he will see something like the devil, So the story of Don José, I know the character of the people, and especially they find themselves, just put a Basque that has been very reserved, just put him in the middle of Andalusia, which the people is totally open, with the people is really always making jokes, and the gypsies, they really, it's very difficult to portray Carmen, because it's a different way. Maybe in many places and many portrays of Carmen, all they do, the Carmens, is to be angry, and they are not that. They are very clever. They are very clever, and they really play. They are really smart, and they know how to play with Escamillo, with Don José, with Zúñiga, with everybody. If it will be only an angry person, it won't have that success. It's the way she manipulates things. The way she controls everything around, which makes this emancipated woman, which Bizet created. The marvelous thing about Carmen is Bizet wrote this fantastic Spanish music, and he was never in Spain. Some people say that really his death was provoked by the results of Carmen. Can you imagine? At the very beginning, they don't give him credit. Can you imagine? It's one of the most perfect operas. The whole music, the story, the orchestration, everything is so perfect in it. If you will say it, you will talk to anybody and say it, what will you advise me to see if I am not an opera believer and I have to go for the first time? I said, well, go to a really good production of Carmen with great singers, great conductor, great orchestra. And one has to clarify that, because it cannot be, it could be the opposite thing. It's nothing worse than a bad production of Carmen, and with not the right strengths there, because then everything becomes quiche, strange, and it will create the opposite feeling. But I think that, having, as I said, Kleiber and Zeffirelli at their best, so we have one of the most exciting productions. I remember that Franco asked me because yes, the people in the north of Spain know generally, because there are a lot of, of dark hair people, but there are a lot of blonde people. So Isabel Buchanan and me, they make us different in the whole Andalusia. So they Sefirelli put me a kind of a blonde wig, and also for her, to be. So it really see that we don't belong there. You can see that we don't belong there. So the duet was very touching. You can see the difference, and then you have just seen the entrance of Carmen and all this wonderful world. And when Franco goes all the way, he's unbeatable. I remember the scene on the third act in the when they are, just in the Sierra, when they are smuggling with the smugglers scene. I was in a the most beautiful white horse, with Carmen in the back of the horse. We make an entrance like this. I mean, you cannot imagine. It was like a painting with snow, just singing the sextet there. I mean, those are magic moments, and they stay in your mind forever, And 30 years later, when you are talking now, you are feeling the strength of the production. You are feeling that this is opera as its best. And when opera is like this, it's unbeatable. And with Cliver, making all the magic pages that Bizet created. I mean, it's the unforgettable night that it will live in my mind forever. The part of Don José is very lyrical in some moments and very dramatic in other moments. The part of Don José is lyrical, of course, when you sing the duet with Micaela, and part of the aria of the so-called flower song is the soul of Don José is there. And then the anger comes, the frustration comes, and then there is this dramatic music. And both are very important. You have to sing with the utmost of lyricism the duet with Micaela. Parlez-moi de ma mère, je la vois, oui, je revois mon village. Thinking about the mother, thinking about the village, thinking about his youth, about everything. And being especially in a total different place. So that's a moment which all the lyric quality of the Don José, of the tenor voice, should come. And it's at the beginning of the opera also. So you haven't lived a drama yet. The only thing then you are is you are out of your city and you miss your people. But the drama hasn't started. Second act, the drama starts. You come there, and here she tells you the first thing, your lieutenant was here now and I was dancing for him. I said, what? I said, are you jealous? Of course I'm jealous. Okay, so I'm going to dance for you. So she tries to make things light, and I said, but then starts the drama, and because Don José wants to leave. And Carmen said, what? Yes, you hear? They are calling me. I have to go back. The army, I have to go back. What? I said, I'm dancing for you. I prepared this for you. We have a private party, you and me, and you are leaving? Okay, va-t'en-t'en, canary. Canary, they call canary because of the yellow part of the uniform. Go. I said, so he's totally shocked. So his drama is starting. So he gets violent for a moment. He gets frustrated. But then he calms and he tries to explain himself, So he takes the dry flower and explains to her, so even if this flowers has been dead, it has leaf, I can feel the fragrance and I can feel you every single day, every single day. And this is the lyricist. It comes the lyricist. Then it comes the dramatic part in the middle, Okay, I don't care. I don't care about everything that happened. And every day, So I just think about one thing. Carmen, I love you. And from down there, what is the answer of Carmen? No, you don't love me. Can you imagine, for the honor of this man, he has, just let her go. He's in prison 2 months. The first thing he does is to run to see her. And then the only thing that she says, no, you don't love me. So from there on, the character goes like this. And he's been placed in the wrong place, like in Andalusia, in Sevilla, in the first act. And being there, because Zúñiga comes, the lieutenant comes, and he's an outlaw man from that moment. And actually in the Mérimée novel, they kill Zúñiga. He gets killed by Don José. So can you imagine? So he has to go to be a smuggler. So third act is a total somber character. And Carmen just take it like, what are you thinking? What are you so mood? Well, because I'm thinking that my mother believes that I'm an honest man. Ha! You mother, you baby. So the provocation to him, and despair him. So then the whole confusion. Escamillo arrives there. They have the fight. Then what happened? Micaela arrives there. Your mother is dying. So what? He has to go. He has to go. So he goes. His mother died. The last act. He comes still with the hope. I'm not menacing. I'm just imploring you. Please. Everything is past now. Let's leave Frankfurt here. So you're asking the impossible, I will never lie, My soul won't change. My heart won't change, So between us, everything is finished. So Carmen, is time. Still is time. So it's bowling, and of course, he kills her. It's destiny. Carmen has seen it in the cards also, But at the end, so this innocent boy, becomes a killer. And for this, he pays also with his life. So this character is really a joy to play. I always say that in real life, I want to be happy. But on the stage, it's wonderful to suffer. It's really wonderful to suffer. You can give so much of yourself. You can really give something to the public. And the most dramatic is the moment. And the saddest is the moment. The best, you feel, you enjoy it. I guess you are a masochist on the stage.